Today we will be talking about seller financing. Seller financing is a good tool, it's a good strategy, a good way to purchase properties, to wholesale properties. As homeowners, this is the lick. Yeah. This is a way for you to get to that $1 million. Instead of having the person that wants to purchase your house go get financing, you finance it to them. This is a way for you to make interest off of your property. So let's go through it. So what is seller financing? I'm going to explain it short and simple. The seller acts as the lender instead of getting a bank loan. The buyer signs a promissory note and a security instrument, mortgage deed, trust, or land contract directly with the seller to pay off the purchase over time. So the key documents you'll need is a promissory note or a mortgage or a deed of trust, a amortized schedule, and a simple way. How long are you going to make this payment to? How long are you going to make this payment? And is it good? Is it being paid off? What's the interest in the principal? So why is seller financing a useful tool? I'm adding words in there. I'm degrading. So speed and control. It gives you speed. It gives the client the purchaser control also. It helps you make income. Honestly, it helps you make recurring income over time. Every single day. They call it mailbox money. That's what they call it, mailbox money. I remember my first time going into Mike's meeting, and he asked everybody what was their goal in real estate, and I said I wanted mailbox money. I wanted every single day I open that mailbox up. That's a check waiting on me. That's what I was hustling for, and that's what I'm still hustling for. So, typical terms, interest rate. Oops, let me go back. So typical terms, interest rate, loan term. How long are you carrying the loan? How long are you carrying the loan for? Are you carrying it for 10 years, 20 years, 15 years? How long are you carrying it? You can carry it for 7 years and put a 10-year balloon just to get the payments low enough. Down payment. Is there a down payment? How big is the down payment? Sometimes you can create a no money down situation. They do that a lot with subject twos. They just taking over somebody else's debt. The next thing, so seller financing versus traditional. Hey, so seller financing, you can negotiate between the buyer and the seller. If I own the property and you want to buy it from me, me and you could just negotiate. We can come up with an interest rate. We can literally close within that 30-day window, depending on how long the title company takes. Depending on if there's any liens on the property, anything that may affect the transaction, and then it brings a income stream for me, for me as the seller. If I own the property. You can put a deferred clause in there if consecutive 2 payments are missed, the deed to get transferred back to me instantly. So it just depends on what you put in your actual contract, what you put in there. So the thing with traditional financing, so you go directly to the bank, you got to have W-2, credit, you got to go through a verification stage. This was something me and Miss Holyfield was talking about. The issue with a lot of these situations, especially while homeowners are sitting on the market, because somebody has to come in and get approved. They have to have their credit right. They have to have a job in place. They have to have a stable amount of income coming in to show that you're able to maintain it. That's the huge hiccup or the huge hurdle when you're trying to get a bank loan. And a lot of consumers don't understand. Hey, you can go directly to the homeowner and say, hey, can you finance the property to me? Every homeowner won't, but some will. As my partner, shout out to Flip, one of the things he always says is most won't, but enough will. So in a simple way, just look for seller financing. You see $1 million properties willing to do seller financing. It's all about what you negotiate. So again, the rates, lower rates, higher third party rates. So remember, a lot of these situations where you got the Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, they got rates already built in, and then whatever's taking place, whatever y'all negotiate, the process is a little bit slower because you got to go through this qualification stage. It's usually cash at closing, so you usually gotta pay some cash to get these, to pay for it. When you at the closing table, you got to spend money, especially with traditional lending. If you're doing seller finance, you can negotiate terms. You can negotiate. Hey, you pay for the closing costs. I don't want to pay for it. I can't afford it. It's whatever you negotiate. If the deal fall apart, it falls back on the lender's qualification, appraisal gap, buyer defaults. So it just skills. You know what your situation is as far as borrowing that money. So interest rate in the payment. This is where a lot of the wealth building comes in. Um, so I run into this all the time. A lot of homeowners, they have unrealistic terms as far as interest rates. They jack up the interest rate higher than the federal interest rate. For people like me, it's pointless. I'm coming to you to get a cheaper interest rate. We're I always say we competing against the market. We fighting against the market. So when I say that, I mean we're looking for a cheaper interest rate. We're playing the money game. So credit score, down payment, and property type, those are things that will affect the fixed balance percentage. Fixed versus adjustable. So depending on whatever you negotiate, it could be a fixed mortgage or it could be adjustable mortgage. I did both. The default rate. What is the default rate that you guys negotiated on? Payment and then the difference between conventional versus seller finance, as you can see. So balloon payment. So what is a balloon payment? A large lump sum of principal payment due at the end of a short loan term, 5 to 7 years. Again, remember what I said. A lot of these people, they ask for a 3 year balloon, and really it's whatever somebody's willing to give to you. And remember what I told you, as an investor, we want to try to get it 5 years to 10 years, 20 years, whatever negotiate. We want to push it as far as back as possible so we can make our money. So why structure it this way? So for a buyer, it keeps monthly payments affordable and low. It keeps it affordable. For the seller, it limits duration of risk. Basically, in a simple way, let me explain it like this. A lot of commercial owners that want their money up front, they'll take a little bit on the down payment, but they'll say, hey, in 5 years, I know how much you will make. You should be able to make X, Y, and Z. And this is what I need. Now, remember what I told you in the previous video. It's about the exit strategy. If you know you're going to make this money back, it's an easy W. Or people are turning around and refinance to get in and get out because they got in so cheaply. So refinancing and basically getting a conventional mortgage, it won't be a loss because enough time the property has appreciated over time. So investor pros, fast capital returns. Again, I just said that the money that they make based off the interest rate, yield payments, the interest rate, depending on whatever you negotiated. If you negotiated a 6%, you're getting 6% interest rate on top of the money that you're making. There is some risk. Refinance risk. Buyer may not qualify for a bank loan when balloon is due. Foreclosure costs. If a buyer defaults on the payment, you must take property back. Again, less total interest. So shorter term means less total interest collected. So let me break it down for you like this. So let's say over time, let's say originally if you held the property for over 30 years, you would make $1 million. But since you put a balloon payment, you might only make 400K or 500K. So you kind of just shot yourself in the foot because you rushed the actual payments instead of allowing it to gradually go up. So you kind of hurt yourself because you didn't stick with the term limit. So this is what it would look like. So principal versus interest. Let's say a purchase price was 300K, the loan payment was 270. Term right, we got it at 7.3 over a 30 year. It's 60 months. So this is what it looked like. So as you can say, as you can see with the interest, it went up. So interest paid. So total, this is the total payment. So as you can see with the interest only, it would have been making 15K. But if you put the principal and interest together, this is how much he would be paying total. So as you can see, the principal and interest, it definitely makes a difference. It makes a difference. So when you put it together, you start to understand, okay, so this is how the wealth is actually built. So over time, over the next 5 years, this would be the actual total payments. This would be interest, and would be principal. Excuse me. A lot of these banks, they will finance the property to you. Excuse me, I'm listening to music. A lot of these banks, they will finance the property to you, and if you pay attention to how much money they make, they really ripping you off. But it's difficult for a homeowner to understand it because this information is not being taught. So in a simple way, so this is the principal. This is the principal. This is the interest that's on the principal. So as you can see, the interest on the principal, that's $91,000 of interest. And then you put it all together, that's 107. In 5 years, you would have made 107. But most people chasing the money now. So they shoot themselves in the foot. Because they need it now, they not focused on the long term. So immediately. So let's look at it from this perspective. So if you look at it right here, so this is how much interest that's calculated. As you can see, that's damn near the whole damn 5 years versus principal. So this is the issues that we run into. This is the issue that I run into, especially when structuring deals. A lot of homeowners, shout out to the agents, they be wanting a high interest rate, higher than the federal interest rate, and it's like, bro, you messing up the game. We coming to you because we want it cheaper. We not coming to you because you know what I mean. We want it higher. We come to you because we want it cheaper. So that's the issue. And then hold on, let me see. And then right here, this is the balloon payment. You can barely see it. So right here, this is the balloon scenario. Remember what I talked about. So if he held it for 5 years, this is how much he would total pay. This is how much he would totally pay. Versus him holding it for the full 30 years, he would make 646. Okay. So as you can see, he would make way more money by him holding it instead of putting a balloon payment. I like to do that. And I like to be loud because the information, the education piece is not being taught. Most people want the money now, but they really screwing themselves over. They're really hurting themselves by taking the short term, by them taking the 5 year balloon or the 3 year balloon. They're actually losing way more money than actually making way more money. By them taking the whole duration of the actual property, they will make way more money. As you can see, look, the same amount, if they took it in 5 years, this is over 30 years, this is how much they would have made, plus the actual interest. Bro, come on now. So as you can see right here, this is the remaining balance, interest paid, and then total to seller. So wealth building for investors. Why is this important? You're able to add you're able to maximize your yield. You're able to the interest on remember, every dollar is working for itself. Every penny is working for itself. Every cent is working for itself. So as an investment tool, this is the best way to earn passive income and earn real wealth, because now the property is over time is making generational wealth. It's building that ladder. It's building the thing. And this is why I say a lot of homeowners, they kind of mess up because they live in the property instead of renting it out. And then if they rent it out, they didn't do the proper things to hold the wealth. They didn't have the strategy, the exit strategy, and etc. So time value of money. So again, that balloon payment, we talked about the balloon payment, how that balloon payment, it could ruin a lot of the things that you're trying to do. What is the strategy? So when we look at it, there is tax benefits to doing this. Instead of you paying the capital gains tax, I spoke about this previously. Instead of you paying that, you getting residual income over time, so it would get calculated differently. And then especially if you still own the property, you still could write it off. Doing a contract for deed, you still the contract is the deed is still in your name. The property is still in your name in a sense. So there's ways to structure this. There's ways for the homeowner to benefit more than what they would benefit by selling it outright. But this information is not being taught. Shout out to the realtors. Shout out to the agents. Some of these agents don't know this information, and some do. But again, it's difficult to tell somebody something if their mind is already made up. This is why my role is important, because we take the role of educating the youth, educating the people. The difficulty is it's difficult to educate somebody in an emotional state because emotionally they're only focused on what they want to focus on. So it makes it harder for people like me and other investors to come in and say, hey, this is the best option you got, and this, and this, and this is why, and we show all the proof. So it makes it difficult for us. My bad, y'all. I'm jamming. So lease option versus seller financing. Lease option, exactly what it is. You got the option to buy. You basically renting it out for a long period of time, but you have the option to buy it at any of that time while the lease is existing. A lot of people do that, especially if they like a property, and it's a way to honestly, this is how I look at it. It's a way to determine if you want to buy that property or buy it, or to live in that property or invest in it. So as a landlord, you retain payments. You retain payments directly. You don't have to check for credit, but you can. But it's a way to build credit. It's a way to build a savings. It's a way it's basically a way to finesse the game as much as possible. So with seller financing, it's an immediate ownership transaction. You purchased a house. You legally purchased a house. You legally just purchased a house. So the debt service, principal and interest, again, is that included or not included? Sometimes it's included in the actual mortgages, and sometimes it's not. I've structured deals where the homeowner wanted to pay the principal and the principal and interest, so we wouldn't include that in. It just depends on what's negotiated. My bad, y'all. I'm listening to music. Hey. So it transfers to the buyer at closing. Immediately, you've purchased the property. A lot of homeowners, they biggest hiccup or their biggest hurdle is they want to still have control of the property. That's fine. Just do a contract for deed or executory contract. You're still the holder. You're still the owner of the property from a legal standpoint. On paper, they have not got the deed yet. So depending on what you put in place, a foreclosure process may be super easy. It may be difficult. It just depends on what you put in place. I know. Shout out to Richard. One of the things that he put in, and I may say this name wrong, but he put a deed of low. If I'm not saying it incorrect, if I'm saying it incorrectly, y'all know what I'm talking about. The smart ones that know what I'm talking about. But a deed of low in a short, simple way is it's a document that states if the buyer missed 2 consecutive payments or 1 consecutive payment, whatever is agreed upon, the deed immediately get transferred back to you. So there's things and terms that you can put in the contract that can protect you as a homeowner. Creative finance options. You could do a wrap. That's what this guy is doing right here. He's the guy right here. That's what the guy from Fiber, he's doing a wrap. You can do a land contract. We spoke about that earlier. Contract for deed, a land contract, or executory contract. You can do it subject to the existing financing. So, subject to the existing financing, let's say the homeowner already has a mortgage in place and they just got let's say they just got the mortgage. They only had it for like a month or two and they want to sell for some apparent reason. They got family issues, etc. So instead of them trying to recoup the money that's financed, they would just allow the buyer to take over their existing payments. Now, this is not an assumable mortgage. We're not assuming the mortgage. The mortgage details and contact name, everything will still stay in the original homeowner's name. We would just make the payments on their behalf and own the property. So on paper, it would look like they're sharing the property, the title, and etc. with the homeowner. So instead of the homeowner's name being removed off of it, the homeowner's name would still be removed on there. I mean, the homeowner's name will still be on there. Now there's people that say, hey, the deed can be called due, and that's true. A lot of investors have this way of doing it. They'll put it in the trust, and how again, that's not me. I stay away from sub twos because it can get hairy. Shout out to Mike. Mike had always said, if it do get called due, don't stop paying. Continue to keep making the payments. Show them that you're able to continue to keep making the payments, and they might not trip about it. But it's up to you how you want to do it. Or you can get a bank loan in second position. There's things that you can do. You can put it in second position, third position. It's whatever's agreed upon. Even though a lot of people won't take third position. You can share equity. You know that this is an easy way to own ownership in a property. For me, this is actually one of the ways I'm getting my property. I'm asking for ownership instead of an acquisition fee. Hey, just give me equity in the property. So when it does so if it does get sold, or in my case, I'm trying to buy my first rental, so I want ownership. I want to be able to turn one of those units into my unit, so I can dictate my actual rent. So right now, my rent is $1,400. That's cool. But if I own a property and I am a co-owner, now I can justify my rent to $500. I could justify it to $1,000. I could justify it to $100. Whatever me as the owner or the co-owner negotiate. You see what I'm saying? So I'm able to justify my payments. And what that does for me, now I got more capital to play with on a monthly basis. I just got that 1,400 back in my pocket or whatever we negotiate. So from an investor's payout, this is how it looks like. So closing day, you get the down payment right there. You get the monthly payment, and then you get the balloon payment, and then total. This is the total. If you would have did it over a 5 year span. Remember, the longer you hold it, the more you make. And again, this is the perception that they not understanding. They not understanding it because people want the money now. And shout out to Steven and Mike. One of the things they always say is ask the homeowner why they want the money. Because sometimes they don't even have a real idea of what they want to do with the money. They just want it. They just want it. They want to sell out of it. They want to plan. They want to make certain moves. Pace, he always talked about the story where it was a homeowner. She wanted to retire and, go travel across the world. And he basically I almost said convinced her, but he basically helped her understand that her needing a large lump sum of money up front is not the best option. Her getting monthly payments over time fits better with the strategy that she's trying to do, because now she's able to pay for gas, she's able to pay for lot rent and etc. when she travels the world using that RV. Basically, he structured it in a way that she would be good, she would be taken care of. But again, most people don't notice because again that conversation needs to be had. So this is how much profit that the person would make with the interest. He would make 91, 97, 1. He would make $91,971,000. He'd make a lot of money. So the final takeaway: seller finance is a good tool to use. More people need to use seller financing. It's very simple once you understand it. It is very possible to do, and oftenly it's better to get seller financing than a large upfront capital. It's better to do seller financing as a homeowner even as a buyer, it allows you to get whatever you need. Thank you guys for joining. This has been a good little website. I mean, a website, a good little slide I put for you guys. This is an opportunity to teach you guys, and let's get out there. Let's put some deals together. Homeowners, I need y'all to look at this from a different lens. This is a way for you to make generational wealth. This is a way for your kids to eat. This is a way for you to retire. This is a way for you to live. It's all about what you negotiate. They say the average homeowner either has 1 to 2 properties. So, that extra property, you could be leasing it out or renting it out or etc. If you got a grandma house and her house sitting there and it need repairs, call people like me. Financing is definitely an option. Seller financing is definitely an option. You can finance cars, you can finance land, you can finance a broken property. You can finance it. You can even finance a property that has little equity, no equity. It's all about what you structure. Again, we talked about the reps. You can do a lot of stuff. Again, it's all that education piece that most people don't know of. But we out, y'all. We out at 3,000.